Hello, good morning, and welcome to another episode of What Do We Do Now? A conversation about the live event industry. Today I'm joined again by my co-host, Tony. Say good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Dave. Good morning, everybody. How are you today, Dave?
Not too bad, thank you, Tony. How are you today?
I am very good. Yes.
Fabulous. And today our guest is none other than Laura Cole. Say hello, Laura.
Hi, morning everybody, or afternoon.
Yeah, just crept into the afternoon right now. Laura, it's really nice to talk with you, and thank you so much for doing this. But one of the questions I kind of start with many people is like, how did you get your start in the live event industry? What's your origin story? And maybe we'll just kind of drop through it kind of quickly and tell us a little bit right through to what you do now, kind of thing.
Yeah, sure, that makes sense. So my journey into events actually started when I was 18, looking to go to uni, thought I wanted to be a wedding planner. So began a degree in events and marketing management up in Birmingham. And during that course, the university had really good connections with the NEC. And they often offered volunteer work or just weekend work at a lot of the exhibitions taking place there. So I would often work at the BBC Good Food Show on magazine subscriptions. I worked on kitchen theatres with Gordon Ramsay and kind of started to just get some experience and realised very quickly that this was more the avenue I wanted to go down. And I made some really good connections off of doing that. So when it came to graduating, a contact that I'd made messaged me and said that a temporary job was going in London, in Earl's Court, for a company called Clarion Events. It was a 6-week contract. Did I want to apply? So I thought, I might as well just bite the bullet and go for it. It was at a time where a recession was hitting as well, so there wasn't many jobs kind of going. So I was like, I've just got to go for it. And I got this temporary role. So left the Midlands and moved into a hostel for 6 weeks at Earl's Court, and started this role with Clarion Events in their operations department. And at the end of the 6 weeks, after doing a couple of events with them, they offered me a full-time role as an operations assistant. So I moved down full-time. My best friend also moved down, so that worked very well. And I stayed there for 7 years and worked my way up in the department to management across that time, across lots of different portfolios in the company. And then got to a point where I felt I'd learned everything I could there, and chose to make the leap to go freelance and set up my own company 5 years ago. So I've been a freelance operations manager since then. Yeah, since 5 years ago.
Wow. Okay. So obviously, if you've gone from sort of full time to freelance, like how, when did it actually hit you that things are going to change based on, the current situation with being a freelancer? Do
you know what? It hit me because I was working on a show called Mobile World Congress, which is a huge event in Barcelona. I've worked on that show for a few years now. So I was actually out there in February of this year when that show got cancelled while we were there. And this was when COVID was suddenly starting to become a bigger issue. And I think for a while, everyone was thinking, is this just being blown out of proportion? Hopefully this isn't going to become such a big thing. And then that event got cancelled halfway through its build. And we were overseeing then the breakdown of this show and seeing the repercussions of this being cancelled. I think us and the team just looked at each other and thought, could this snowball now? Is this the start? Because it was such a huge event and so impactful for the industry. And it kind of went from there, really, that I started to think, what's going to happen off the back of this? And started kind of planning and looking at my diary and thinking, okay, what events do I have coming up? Especially at the start of the year, because I don't think anyone expected this to go on for as long as it has, to be honest. It's very strange times.
Yeah, it's so strange, isn't it? Like, what would you say has been the biggest kind of impact on your working life, just how you spend your time and that side of it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm at an advantage because of being freelance. I do work from home a lot. So it wasn't as though I had to suddenly not be in the routine of being in an office and adapt to working from home. So I had that advantage. But it's little things like I would go and work in a coffee shop for a change, or just get out of the house and go and get a coffee, or go and work with a fellow freelancer together and motivate ourselves that way. So I guess it's adapting to having I'm now working on my own a lot more, and I don't think I realised how much I actually still did see people, whether it was just for a quick coffee or to meet up and have a chat through an event. So that's been the biggest change, is just suddenly being like stuck at my desk and not having the option to go anywhere else.
Yeah, and have you, due to the current climate, like sort of your working practices, you're saying about being with, not being with people, but what about from this sort of the virtual world perspective? Like, have you had to, what kind of working practices have you had to adopt being in this kind of virtual world? Like, have you started to get sort of jobs, but they're all virtual compared to live? And like, it would just be interesting to hear your opinion on that, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think just having to be on video call all the time was like, we've all had to adapt to that, haven't we? It was something that I just never did. It was always you'd go and meet someone and talk things through rather than a video call. So just adapting to being actually on a screen all day, but talking is actually quite exhausting, to be honest. So that's been a big thing to adapt to. In terms of the virtual side of things, that's something that I'm very much still learning, because it was never my forte. I'm very much an on-site, like on my feet all day, just dealing with stuff as and when. And the virtual aspect of things is very new to me and something that I'm just trying to still learn and get my head around.
Yeah, I think there's loads of people that are kind of trying to be adaptable, which we're all kind of used to doing that because we're used to working in different venues and different countries with different teams of people. And like you say, just being able to be adaptable, but being able to learn new ways of working, with various teams or with various venues, because we're often adapting to systems that are already and processes that are in place, whether it's venues or catering companies or whatever it happens to be. Is there anything like about your role in particular that that you think you kind of will be able to bring to that? To some of those new ways of working? Is there anything that you don't like the idea of getting used to?
Well, I think my role is heavily about planning. It's a lot of spreadsheets, it's just making sure that everything is going to run to spec. And I think there's just going to be a lot more of that, a lot more micro scheduling to get events in place, a lot more based around the health and safety of everyone involved, absolutely. Not just your visitors, but that, your teams and your suppliers. So I think it's just being even more organised, to be honest, than ever before. I would say is going to be the biggest thing, and just learning more about the health and safety. It's something that I do anyway. I'm NEBOSH qualified, but there's so many more things that we're all having to adapt to at the moment, and I think we're all learning as we go as well. It's not all black and white at the moment at all.
No, for sure.
No,
not at all. And like, do you think actually with this, because you're saying about virtual isn't your forte, and that's obviously the rumours which are happening at the moment, everything obviously might go virtual. Like, are you still actually wanting to remain in this industry, or has actually it made you consider other avenues based on what's sort of going on?
Yeah, I very much want to remain in this industry. I think a lot of people I work with have said once you get sucked into events, you kind of never really leave, working towards something and seeing it become live and having that on-site family, really. It's like it's what you work towards. And I absolutely love that aspect of my role. So I definitely want to stay in the industry. And if anything, I think this whole situation has made me realise how much we do all support each other. And there is so much support out there and so much networking going on. And I just think that's been great to be a part of, and does make me want to really fight to get our events going again and all come together during this time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Is there anything that what have you been up to during lockdown? Like, how have you been spending your time? Have you found anything that you like to do or learnt any new skills?
Yeah, I've become obsessed with gardening, to be honest.
Very good. It's good for the soul. It's good for the soul.
Yeah. To be honest, I think the biggest thing has been just protecting my mental health and welfare. I think that's been really important during this time. And I'm very fortunate to have a garden and an outdoor space. And I've just been utilising that as much as possible and trying to just be outside, especially when we couldn't be going anywhere at all. So I've been doing a lot of that, just trying to keep myself fit and healthy, and just take the time out for myself. and do some training and upskilling, but also actually just take a bit of time and read a book. You know, when you're so busy with work, I never read a book. It's like, do you know what I mean? It's just so nice to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. It's really interesting just picking up on what you were saying, I guess, about mental health. I think it's such a big topic kind of for our industry in particular. There's a lot of people that work regularly in very stressful situations. Have you got anything that's worked really well for you sort of over the last 12 weeks that you can share? Like any apps that you're using or other than the gardening, obviously?
Yeah, sure. I mean, to be honest, the biggest thing for me has just been trying to have some sort of routine, because routine just went out of the window when you don't have any work really to be focusing on. So, you know, I made a point, I get up every morning, I do yoga, and I just felt that hour session of yoga just kind of, you know, calmed me down and like got me ready for the day. And then I would spend a couple of hours, say, on LinkedIn or just speaking to some fellow event profs. And then actually just take some time out for myself in the afternoon. And as work's picked up a little bit, I then, you know, slot that in as well. But I think it's just been trying to eat well, have a routine, get some fresh air, even if the weather's not great. Although we've been very fortunate, I think, with the weather during this period. Thank goodness.
Yeah, agreed.
Not at the moment, but yeah.
It's coming back.
Coming back. Fingers crossed.
And you said about like upskilling, obviously in and around the gardening, because you know, as Dave said, I think it's really, really important. And as you said about your mental health and having that routine, when it comes to actually upskilling from a work perspective, is there anything that you would actually recommend to anybody going, oh, do you know what, this was really good, whether it's a project management course or a health and safety course or anything like that? Like, have you been doing anything specific that you'll be like, yeah, that was a really good one that you could recommend?
Yeah, to be honest, I actually kind of looked at my role and I knew there was areas that I wasn't 100% confident in compared to others. And so I thought, you know what, this is my chance to actually improve my knowledge in these areas. So one area for me with my role was just food safety and just having a better understanding of that. That's quite important at a lot of events. So I did a level 3 food safety course, which was good. It's nice to use my brain actually and have the time just to do the course, because you don't have time when you're really busy with the event calendar. I've also just been looking into like the COVID-19 measures that are probably going to come into place, speaking with a lot of the associations and the working groups there, because I know they're fighting a lot with the government to do what they can to get regulations passed for us. So just trying to keep up to date with everything, so I'm as knowledgeable as possible that I can be, and joining a lot of webinars and virtual events. And musical bingo as well. I've been doing some musical bingo on Zoom, which has been good fun.
Oh gosh,
and lots of quizzes.
And actually on that, talking about work, like, do you think, I think everyone's always got this question, do you think live events will come back? If so, when do you think it will return? And do you think it will be the hybrid? Do you think it will go virtual? Or what is your sort of take on everything and thoughts? I think
live events, they're definitely going to come back. Like the industry is worth 70 billion to the UK economy. You know, that in itself is a reason that we need to get this industry back up and running. If that's going to happen this year, I know a lot of organisers are doing all they can for that to happen towards the end of the year. I can't say for sure that will be the case, but I think certainly for 2021, a lot of people are very positive about that year and doing all they can to get these events up and running. So I think that's really positive. And in terms of hybrid events, I do think that will become the future. I think that a lot of events have had to adapt and we've all had to learn new skills around that. So I think that there will be an element of that continues when the events are back up and running for sure. I'm not sure if virtual events will ever take over live events, but I think they're certainly a good add-on to events for a lot of people.
Yeah, I definitely think that's what people are saying, like that add-on kind of part. Like you said they won't replace, they will enhance.
Yes, that's the word. Yes,
they will enhance. Yeah.
Definitely.
One of the questions I've just been asking a lot of people, kind of as we kind of bring this to an end, is there what was the best piece of work advice that you've ever been given, or something that you live by, some kind of mantra, or is there a message that you want to share with the live events industry?
Yeah, I think from the very start of like my career in events, I was always told by my management, utilize the experts around you. Like, we work with so many suppliers who are all very knowledgeable in their own sectors, and often you think you can just solve everything yourself, but they're knowledgeable and they've got those expertise for a reason. So just use that, and it's fine to ask questions. You don't need to know everything. We're constantly learning. You know, there's people that have been in this sector for 30 years plus, and they still ask questions, and they're always learning, and there's nothing wrong with that. We don't need to feel like we have to know it all. So that's the biggest.
I think that especially with the rate of change at the moment, I think we all just need to accept that we don't know everything about the new way of doing all of this stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. And thinking of the piece of advice was that a cup of tea goes a long way, you know, so offering to make someone a quick drink and having a chat, talking things through, like, you know, little gestures like that go a long way in building relationships and keeping those relationships going.
Definitely agree with that. Tea makes all the difference.
It really does. And the odd biscuit thrown in as well.
Yeah. Or with the chocolate or non-chocolate?
A bit of chocolate, please. A bit of chocolate.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. It's been really lovely to talk with you and just to hear what you've been going through over the last, I don't even know how long it is now. It's such a long time.
101 days.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much.
Wow. No, you're very, very welcome.
Thank you for the opportunity. I think it's just been, during this whole time, just knowing that everyone else is going through the same thing is really comforting, and to know that it's okay to say that you're struggling or you found it tough. It's fine to say that. You don't need to put on a brave face all the time. And that's been the biggest learning curve for me as well. So yeah, thank you very much.
You're very, very welcome. And thank you for today, Tony. Thanks for all your help. Say goodbye for now.
Goodbye, everybody. Bye, Laura. Goodbye, Dave.
Bye.
And bye-bye from me. Thanks again, everybody. Take care.